Alright, this is my 5th video on this propaganda yard sign. Now on the sign I've been using on this thumbnail, it says feminism is for everyone, but I've seen online that women's rights are human rights is a more common slogan for this 5th one. I will be using that as the slogan I debunk. This one is similar to the other ones in that they create a phrase that everybody would agree with, such as science is real. Everybody thinks science is real. Black Lives Matter. Everybody believes Black Lives Matter. But that's not what they really mean by it. That's just the kind of the Trojan horse of all of these slogans, which is why it's propaganda. By the way, propaganda, again, as I said in all the other videos, propaganda is a message with a deception involved. And you wouldn't call it propaganda if it was just truth. You would just say this is just true. But when you say propaganda, there's a negative connotation that there is a deception involved. It's meant to sway you, but it's kind of a half-truth or a trick in some way, as I've shown in the last 4 videos that I did on the first 4. Some of these have a lot of falsehoods in them, and I've been exposing that. If you want to see those videos, you can check in the description. I'll leave the link to all those videos. But this one, women's rights are human rights, this is also a sort of Trojan horse. And nobody really would disagree with women's rights are human rights, or disagree that feminism is good for everybody, like normal feminism, like first wave feminism, that we want the right to vote, or just normal, we want equal rights as men, which was the original purpose of feminism. That's not what they're talking about here, because women have all the rights that men do. What they really mean by this is abortion. And so this is kind of the deception involved, because if they had wrote on the sign pro-abortion or pro-choice, a lot less people would have bought this sign and put this sign on their yard. Same with all of these. If they would have, instead of Black Lives Matter, they would have put, we support domestic terrorism, which Black Lives Matter was involved in a large amount of domestic terrorism in 2020. Or we think black fathers are not important or should be diminished. Or what was the phrase they used in the on the Black Lives Matter website? We disrupt the traditional family structure. If they would have wrote that on the sign instead of Black Lives Matter, we disrupt fathers in the home, or you don't need fathers in the home, how many people would have put the sign up in their yard? Like nobody. So they had to choose slogans that were things that everybody would agree with, and then kind of smuggle in the real agenda, which is abortion. And this is why this issue confuses people, because people say, oh, hey, don't you support women's rights? And it sounds nice, but when you break it down, it's really supporting abortion. And that's a lot different thing, because you don't have just the woman's right to the pursuit of happiness, which is a real and legitimate right. You have a competing right of the unborn baby right to life. So in some situations in the world, you have competing rights, and the way you decide which right wins out is by understanding which right is superior in the hierarchy of rights. And we're going to go through the hierarchy of rights just very briefly. Women and men, but women, since we're talking about women, women of course have the right to the pursuit of happiness, and that's a very real right. But the baby has a right to life. So which right wins out? Well, let's think about it. What if you have a bad boss? And you might think, my life will be easier if I can kill my boss. That might make you happier. Does that right to the pursuit of happiness allow you to kill your boss? No, obviously it doesn't, because the boss's right to life is superior to your right to the pursuit of happiness. So I hope you're following this. It's not that complicated, but it's rarely broken down in these terms. It's very obvious. It doesn't even come close. Your right to the pursuit of happiness doesn't even come close to justifying murdering your boss. So this is the same with abortion. The pregnant mother thinks to themselves, you know, I don't want a baby and this is going to make my life harder and I want to do different things, that is not justification for killing their unborn child. A justification might be if the doctor says your life is in danger if you have this baby, which is very rare, by the way, but just let's just say that happened, where the doctor said your life is in danger. Now her right to life is here, and the baby's right to life. These are equal rights. So her aborting her baby to live is justified, in my opinion, because they are equal rights. But that is the only case where the rights are equal. Her right to the pursuit of happiness is much lower than the baby's right to life. Some people will make the case, well, it's her right to bodily autonomy. Well, the baby has a right to bodily autonomy. The baby is not her body. The baby is in her body, but it is a unique DNA, a totally unique human being. We do not have the right to kill somebody's life because of their stage of development. That is not a justification. We don't say a baby has less of a right to life than a 40-year-old person because the baby is a lesser stage of development. It's completely equal. Whether you're 1 year old or 100 years old, you have an equal right to life. And same for in the womb. Just because you are a different stage of development, it's not okay to just squash you like a bug. Just imagine if it was possible for babies to be immediately birthed, like right after conception, and put in a test tube. Would it be okay to kill the very small embryo? Oh, definitely not. Why is it okay to kill that embryo in the mother's womb? Just because of location. That doesn't make any sense. We don't ever in society say somebody is not alive because of their location. Somebody is alive because we can see there's life. There's circulation happening. You would not say a embryo is dead if it's replicating and growing each day. That's not a dead embryo. That is a living embryo. It's a living human being at the earliest stage of development. And I know that's hard for mothers. If they don't want to have a baby, they can give their baby up for adoption. That is a valid way to exercise their right to pursue happiness because that is not killing another human being. It doesn't violate anybody's rights. That's why it's okay for her to give the baby up for adoption. But killing the baby violates the right to life for the baby. This is kind of a simple issue, but pro-abortion advocates and pro-choice advocates often will only present one side, and it gets clouded in some propaganda like this. It was interesting that there was a women's march, I think in DC, and women went to it to support women, but they were pro-life women. They said, yeah, we support women, but we're pro-life. Can we march? And they weren't allowed to march because women's issues are almost all about abortions today. And so anytime you see like women's rights or I support women, it's almost always code for abortion, which is taking the life of another human being, which is a violation of that right. And a lot of women have like a lot of guilt and a lot of shame and a lot of all kinds of stuff after they have abortion. They have all kinds of feelings about it. And I would just say, just seek God, seek forgiveness. Maybe you didn't know what you were doing. You had all kinds of things happening at the time. Everybody has a unique situation. But I would say seek God, seek Jesus for forgiveness of sins. I'm not singling you out because everybody needs forgiveness of sins. Everybody's done things wrong. But I feel like that is the solution for the guilt and the shame. There's women who have, I saw a woman that had 2 abortions and now, and then she just realized after working at a Planned Parenthood for a while that, you know, I can't do this anymore. This is wrong. And now she's a pro-life advocate. So I just want to say God bless you, and let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.